Hi kids, it's Mrs. Roberts again. Welcome to my kitchen. It's so great to have you back again. And I've got a new story for you today. And today's story is actually historical fiction. The man that I'm going to read about really did live in history, but this is my version as told by the narrator, Patriot, Pigeon. And that's what makes it fiction. So the man is history, but my version is what makes it fiction. All right, let's get started today. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know how America actually got its name. It just didn't pop out, oh, we're going to call this America. No, there's a whole story behind it. And that's what I'm going to read about today. And that was what I wrote about from my memories of history, what I learned when I was a kid. Here we go. All right, so our title today is Amerigo Vespucci, How America Got Its Name, as told by Patriot, Pigeon. And this is our title page. You can see there's Patriot Pigeon sitting in his tree. And as you know, all of the stories with Patriot Pigeon are rhyming. So listen closely and follow along. Here we go. Hey, look, there's Patriot Pigeon sitting in that tree. Would you tell us a story, Patriot? Would you tell us one, please? Tell us how this nation became so grand. Tell us how its individuals learn to take a stand. And here we have Patriot Pigeon sitting in the tree. And below we have the cat and the mouse that are going to be listening to the story. There are so many stories that I could tell of men and women that served us well. Today's story has to do with how America got its name and the men and man who sailed to newfound fame. And where are they heading in the world? America. Across the oceans. In 1492, an Italian man moved to Spain. A chance meeting changed his life. Amerigo Vespucci was his name. Vespucci was a merchant that sold supplies to ships. He yearned to travel someday and met a man that shared some tips. And I want to show you. So this was a man that was selling products. He worked on the docks in 1492. Does that date ring a bell? And he meets somebody on the docks. Hello, I'm Amerigo Vespucci, he says. And let's find out who this is. Who does he meet on the docks? Now remember, he's dreaming of traveling. This man that he met was Christopher Columbus. He had sailed the ocean blue. He found land by sailing west and told how his dreams had come true. The meeting influenced Vespucci to ask the Spanish king and queen for a fleet of ships to look for lands unseen. And here he is. Here's Vespucci talking to the king and queen. And he says, there are so many lands to be discovered. And what he's talking about is more lands to be discovered than what Columbus discovered. Because don't forget, the Queen and King of Spain are the ones that financed Christopher Columbus. And now Vespucci wants help sailing west, searching for new lands. He would search the lands of Columbus and see what else he could find. Maybe a passage to the Indies and wealth of a new kind. In the year 1497, the king and queen agreed. They financed his journey west and supplied him with what he would need. And here we go. He says, Vespucci says, "Thank you." And the queen says, "Find us some new lands." And the king says, "Here is the money you need." And don't forget to look for Patriot Pigeon. He's on most pages. So now Vespucci's going to go on an adventure similar to Columbus. The fleet sailed past islands and explored mainland shores. He was hoping to discover something Columbus had not before. It was said he sailed on. Coming home, he headed north. He may have seen the Gulf of St. Lawrence during his homeward course. So here he is. Okay, so don't forget, this takes place in 1497. So this is his first journey. He starts in Spain. He heads across the Atlantic Ocean, and he explores islands and different things in the area that Columbus was. But instead of coming straight home, he headed north. And guess what? He headed right up the east coast of our country. And you'll see more about that in a moment. And we know this from all his writings. Luckily, this Mr. Vespucci took a lot of notes and journaled all of his travels. Lucky for us. In 1499, Amerigo Vespucci sailed again. He made new discoveries and celebrated with his men. Woohoo! They found the mouth of the Amazon River and decided to explore. Brazil was an amazing place. They wanted to see more. And so here they are. You know, the second trip they take is 1499. They sailed across the Atlantic Ocean again. But this time they found Brazil, the shores of Brazil, and the mouth of the Amazon River. And I don't know if you can see, there's something in the river there. And it says, "Look at that monster." But no, it was one of the gigantic snakes that are in that area of the world. And we don't see them here in North America, but they had them in South America, so it was new to them. Something exciting. A third trip was undertaken in the year 1501. He traveled down the Brazilian coast, soaking up the sun. He found Rio de Janeiro Bay and studied the people there. He sailed along the coast of Argentina. About these places he had to share. So here he goes, kids. he goes back across from Spain, across the Atlantic Ocean again, and this time he goes back to Brazil, but he continues to go down the shore line, and he finds Argentina. And I hope you guys have a map at home that you can look it up, or you can go online and look it up too and see where these places are. So here are the people that he was studying, and he wasn't cruel to them or anything. He just wanted to understand how they lived. And again, guys, this is very important. He wrote about his adventures. He didn't just take an adventure and talk about it. He actually took notes and wrote about it. And that was really important. He was convinced he had found a new world. This was not India or Asia. Vespucci had discovered a new continent and proved it by his data. Vespucci took careful notes. He wrote letters about his adventures. His writings were widely published. Many read about his ventures. The excitement around his discoveries was becoming quite contagious. A map maker used Amerigo's name, and he really became famous. And here he is. He says, "I have my facts." So he continued to take notes. Now, let's read on about that map maker. The map maker, Martin Waldseemüller, drew a map showing 4 parts of the world instead of 3. The earth seemed to be growing. He labeled Europe, Asia, Africa, then wrote America as the 4th. This was Amerigo's name in Latin. The name stuck henceforth. We now have North and South America forever on the map. Amerigo Vespucci's accomplishments were a feather in his cap. So, don't forget, guys, remember they thought the world was flat, but Columbus proved that it was round. They also did not know how much land was actually on the earth. They thought, there was Europe, Asia, Africa, and then something Columbus had found, right? He discovered those islands and a new world. But Amerigo Vespucci actually kept going down and finding out there was more to it than just that area. It was bigger than anyone had expected. And then the map maker that was reading all of his notes named that land after him, America. His adventures encouraged others to explore. Soon the Americas would become so much more. This ends my story for today. It tells how people, true and brave, discovered a new world along the way. And here we have Patriot Pigeon telling his story. And I want to share something with you also. I was lucky enough to travel to Italy this year, and I found the statue of Amerigo Vespucci. And it's pretty spectacular in real life. And I thought I would share it with you. I took a photo of it and then copied it off and put it in my book. It just happened that there he was. I did look for him because I knew I was going to write this story, but I thought it would be wonderful to share an actual statue from long, long ago of him. and share it with you in my story. And that's the end. All right, guys. I just loved writing about this, and I want to dedicate this to my friend Lauren. She's the one that suggested, after she had seen my Columbus story and some of my other little history stories, she said, why don't you write about how America got its name? And that's how this particular story really got started, and why I started remembering all the things I learned when I was a kid. And I had to do a little research myself because I couldn't remember all the facts and the dates. But here we have it. And he took several trips and didn't give up. And that's the key right here, kids. If you have something like this gentleman did, he always wanted to travel. He had a dream of traveling. And when he met Columbus, he realized his dreams could come true, but he had to work at it. It wasn't for free, right? He had to go talk to the king and queen, make arrangements, and he made his dreams of traveling come true with a lot of hard work. So if you have any dreams, kids, it does take hard work, but you can do it. All right, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will be reading to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.